Today's project is this Honda Spree. I believe it's a 1987. It's got 3,400 miles on it, which is quite a bit, but these old Hondas run forever. So first thing we're gonna do is get these plastics off and start tearing into this thing. Don't think that came factory. Get this carb off, because usually when your bike doesn't start, it is carburetor related. So this is your vacuum for the petcock. Other line, gas line. Spark and everything, so we're just gonna get it running again. And then I have a new petcock. We're gonna try putting that on to see if that solves the issue, because maybe it's just not getting the proper amount of vacuum and being able to start it, or being able to feed the carburetor with enough fuel. So we could also, I guess, try just gravity feeding it, because then you know that you have constant fuel. I think we actually might just start by doing that. Plug off the vacuum port. But we're gonna get it running, and then I'll show you guys what the problem is, so that if anybody else has the same problem, hopefully you can fix it also. These little Honda Sprees seem to have a lot of like little issues, at least in my cases. Like carburetors always seem to be pretty finicky, especially these electric chokes. What they do is I think it's called a bi-starter, and basically when it gets power, it will lift this needle up, and then when it's down, it's basically choking it. So it's a nice system when it works, but sometimes it doesn't work. So here's the carburetor. Looks pretty clean, but we're gonna just pop the bowl off, clean off the jets really quick, and I'll walk you guys through how to do that. Okay, this is one of the most basic carburetors. You got 2 screws on the bottom holding the bowl on. So we're just gonna pop those out quick. And I wouldn't suggest buying the, some people make some aftermarket carbs for these, and I wouldn't suggest buying one of those because it always seems like they don't run right. So like the jets are different, stuff like that. So if you can, try to just rebuild this, get an ultrasonic cleaner, stick it in there if it's really dirty, and it will come out looking like new. So there's your float. Don't lose that needle. There we go. And then, so this is your main jet right here. So let's get that one out first. So it's just a little guy right there. And then a lot of people forget to get this emulsion tube out. So what I like to do is reach in here and push that down. You can also get these little picks from Harbor Freight for a couple bucks, and basically you just stick it down in there and poke that little tube out. There it goes. So that's got a lot of little holes in it, and those get plugged up and then your bike won't start. That's basically everything. Like I said, this is like one of the most basic carbs. Just gonna remove the air mixture screw quick. This is usually set to like a baseline is just like 1.5 turns out for when you're putting it back in. So run it all the way in and 1.5 out, and that will get you running. But you want to take that out and blow that, because that's a whole circuit right there. It runs through some passages and out through these back holes also. So that's all it is right there. So pretty basic carb. Now we're just gonna spray this thing off, make sure all the passengers are clean. I spray in all of these holes and everywhere, and then we'll get it slapped back together. For this one, I like to close off the end and then spray, and then it shoots all the pressure out of all the little holes. So that's basically it. We're just gonna slap that back together. You could also use some compressed air. If you don't have an air compressor, you can actually buy cans of air that you would like clean off your computer keyboard with. And that actually works really well also, because you have a small little tip and you can stick it in all these little passages and shoot air in them. This carb's really clean, so I'm just gonna hit it with some carb clean. But I can see, if I hold this up to the light, I can see that all of the passages are clear, so we shouldn't have a problem. We're gonna just get this put back together quick. It's really easy to do these carbs. This can be a little bit tricky here. The needle slides in that little groove of the float, and then you gotta hold it there for a second and then drop it down just like that. It fell off. So this is probably the trickiest part, just getting it to balance there. And then gotta get that pushed through. I think I got it. Okay, this screwdriver's tripping when it goes like that. That's so annoying. It's like magnetized. Okay. So once you get it like that, you can flip it over and make sure that needle is going up and down. And so we got it on there. Gonna slip our big tube back down in there. The main jet goes on top of that. It down. Cut, and then that's it. Get our bowl back on. You don't want to tighten these too much because the aluminum, I think this is like aluminum, it's super soft, and so you can really easily strip those. So we're gonna run this one in all the way. You just want to go until it barely stops like that. Then we're gonna go half, 1, 1.5. So that should be set good enough to get us running. So let's go get this slapped back on and we'll try to fire it up. You can buy these little by starters on eBay, but I don't know. I kind of doubt the quality on those because they're just kind of like some cheap Chinese copies, and I feel like they don't last very long. Dang it, I forgot my screwdriver. Chances we can just put that there. Yeah, it's hard to find parts these days that are just quality parts. Seems like everything's made so cheaply that it'd be nice if you could just get a OEM replacement carburetor, but you can't find those. This is a Keihin Japanese carburetor, which is what the original is. So if it doesn't have that right there, then you know it's some fake replica, which just isn't gonna do much good for you. So it's important that that's on there tight, because again, that's gonna seal and do the whole choke thingy. So it seems like it's a little bit loose, but hopefully that's good. Get the slide put in. when you're putting the slide in, so this is your slide adjustment right here, and there's two sides on the slide. There's the side with the slot like that, and then there's the side with the long slot all the way down. So you want the little slot facing this screw because that's what it uses for the adjustment. So, and then on the other side there's a there's like a pin, and it lines up with that long groove all the way down. So basically you just got to wiggle it and find that groove, and then it will sit all the way down. And some people don't hit that groove, and then the slide's sticking way up, and they go to start it and it just revs like crazy because the slide's not all the way down. And I always like to put this on before I mount the carburetor, because then you can look in where the air cleaner is, and you can see, like, if the choke's way up, then you know that that's not right and you don't have it farther enough down. So you can also kind of play with the adjustment over here and see there should just be a little gap about that big. And then another thing that people sometimes mix up is putting this little intake spacer on. You got an O-ring right here, so it only makes sense that you would have an O-ring on either side, you know what I mean? And then this one only goes one way like that. It covers the whole carburetor perfectly. So that's how it should be. O-ring facing that way towards the intake. And another thing is that these things really only run good with the original air box. So if you're kind of trying to run like an air pod or whatever, or like a cone filter I guess it's called, then you might have some running issues also. So try to stick with just the original air box, because some people try to do the aftermarket cone filter and it just doesn't run quite right. So we're gonna tighten these up. Again, you don't want to get these too tight because they will strip. Then we'll be able to fire this thing up. Hopefully it's gonna start. These aren't my favorite scooters. After I've gotten Honda Elites and Aero 50s, their engines are different and they're a lot faster, and so riding this is just, it's not the same now. I used to think that this thing's so much fun, but after I rode other bikes, it's like this doesn't compare at all. Okay, those bolts felt kind of loose, so hopefully they must be starting to strip or something. I didn't even put it on that tight, so that just shows that you want to be super careful. Someone probably in the past tightened those way too tight. So anyways, I'm not gonna run this. I have a new petcock, but the gas tank is filled up, so that's gonna make a mess. So I think what we'll do to start is just use a gas can and gravity feed it and see how it runs, because I have a feeling it's just not getting enough gas, and that's what's causing the bike to cut out. Okay, I got the gas can hooked up. I don't think I mentioned, but this one got converted to premix, so it's not using the oil injection, which is completely fine. You just want to make sure that that you got the vacuum ports blocked off so you don't have any air leaks. And then since this is a later model, it doesn't have a kickstart, which kind of sucks. If you can, try to find one that's got the kickstart and electric start. I think it's like a 84 maybe or something. It's one of the early Sprees, has both, which is just better because then you don't have to deal with having the battery charge. These dumb clips don't stay on these. Okay, and then this bike's weird. Usually it's the left brake that has the safety. So when you go to start it, you have to pull in the brake and then hit the start button. For some reason on this bike, it's the right one. So this is your safety, so I have to pull that in while I hit it. Gotta turn the key on first. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, there we go, we're running. See, that's what I'm talking about. When you give it gas, I don't know why it's doing that. We'll just let it heat up for a second. See, that's weird because it should just rev up. I've never had a bike do that. So it's not because it's not getting enough fuel, it's gotta be must be something electrical related, I guess. So I really don't know, guys, to be honest. Like, I had this bike. Funny story is I actually had this bike a couple years ago. I bought it. And I got it running. It actually ran sort of good. I rode it around. It would sometimes kind of die if I came to a stop, but it ran good enough. And I sold it, and then like a year later I bought it back from a different person, and it had this weird issue where it, like, you couldn't even rev it. So I'm not sure if it's something electrical related. You can see that someone did something in here. Looks like they added a new ground maybe. But I have no clue what's causing that. You know, it could be someone replaced like looks like they put a new CDI on it, which is an aftermarket CDI, so it's probably junk. But yeah. The person I got it from said that she was told that it needs a new wiring harness. I don't know how that, I guess it could be like shorting out when you give it a lot of power. I don't know. So, I don't know. I'm going to tinker with it a little bit more. But if the video ends here, I didn't figure it out. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this little short video. These things are pretty fun once you get them running. but they just tend to have a lot of issues. So if anybody knows what this possibly could be, it's not fuel related. It's not the spark plug. It's not the coil CDI. So I don't know. I don't think the muffler could be causing it. Sometimes these mufflers get built up with a lot of oil and stuff. Seems to be flowing out of there, so I don't think that's it either. But anyways, hopefully you guys learned something and it helps someone out who was trying to rebuild the carburetor, because I went through that. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. See ya. Let me show you guys kind of what it does when you try to ride it. So starting off, it feels just fine, and once you get going about 15, see, it starts like cutting out. Oh shoot, it's kind of hard to do with just one hand, but hopefully you guys are able to see that it starts almost like missing. Like on a car, it's almost like a miss. So yeah, it's just like super jolty. Once you get over 15 or 20, then it starts intermittently cutting in and out. So I don't know. I'm probably just gonna sell this one. I don't really feel like pulling the harness apart, trying to figure out if something's wrong with it, but it does run, and I think it's on to the next one. But leave a comment if you guys have any thoughts on what it could be, and hopefully this will help someone else out who has the same issue. Thanks guys, see you later.